Okay. Waiting for the rest. So, Mr. Yodele, do you understand the explanation I was trying to give? So you can help me put it in the chat. Okay, okay. I think he understands better now. So let's wait for Mr. Timileyin. Okay, still waiting for him. So initially I wanted to give us an assignment, but with the way it is, it seems majority of us are not very familiar with class, which I won't blame us of. It's quite new to some of us. So I will quickly do an hands-on on the assignment I wanted to give us. Then I'll give us another assignment so that we can see how I do things. So I'm still waiting for Mr. Timileyin so that we can start. So what I will be doing is I'll be creating a new class. You see how I'll be creating it, and I'll be creating an instance of the new of the class. I'm still waiting for Mr. Timileyin. So let's give him some minutes. So now, in the next 30 minutes, I want to just quickly create a class with us and use that class with us. So now, let me comment this out. So I will push the code to GitHub so we can always have access to it. So I'll just comment it out so that I can see. So I want to create a new class now. So let me just come here. I'll right click, add, then let me create a new class. I can create a new class and put it on that same file, but I just want us to. So I'll call this one student. So now we can begin to picture the concept of class now. It's just like a generic blueprint that defines a class, a set of people. So now, let's say student. So now when you create a class under a namespace, it belongs to that namespace. So now,
Please, can you please start the recording?
okay, it's currently on. The recording is on.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so I want to create a new class now. Now the name of the class is student. So now what are the attributes a student should have? So let me say public. The student should have a name. So I will give it a name. Then public also. The student should have a matric number. The matric number should also be a string. It's a combination of characters. Then a student should have a CGPA. So now I can make that one double now. So I will do double data type. So that's double. And that's CGPA. Then who can give me more fields a student should have? Suggestion. Suggestion from us. Are we doing it together?
Department.
Okay, yes. So that would be public. That the department should definitely be a string. So department. Mr. Timila, you wanted to say something? You can give us your contribution.
Number of course.
That one may change with time. I want us to pick something that it's quite static, kind of quite constant, kind of that. The number of course may change. Okay, let's
Level.
level. Okay, yes. So now let me do public and I'll do level. Now I can make it integer, then I'll call it level. So now I've created fifth now. So now assuming I want to, in this case now, I've created all these are called fields now. So now take for example, I want to protect a CGPA. I don't want anybody to just have access to that CGPA anyhow. I want to do some manipulations around it. So I can decide to make that CGPA a property. So I will turn it to a private. So when anything I call private, when you create an instance or when you create a, you can't you can't have access to that field outside the class. That means outside this class, you can't have access to the CGPA. So now I want to create another a property now. So I just call this that one public, then I'll call it double, then I'll call it CGPA now. So in this place now, make it capital letter. So this is the one I want people to have access to. So I'm not saying when you are trying to get it, then return the CGPA where I have it stored very well. So return CGPA, which is the real value itself. Then if you are trying to set it, then store the value. That means CGPA equals value. So now I've created a property now. So you can't have access to this CGPA small letter, but you can, through this big CGPA, have access to it. So I can do some manipulations and all that. So now, take for example, I want to confirm if maybe the person is trying to inject a CGPA to it, and I want to maybe cleaning the CGPA. I can do that inside this place. Okay, if the person is trying to, I can say, okay, you can have to put a condition here and say if value, that means what the person is trying to submit. If value is greater than 5.0, if value is greater than 5.0, sorry, I'm writing Python there. It's greater than 5.0, then CGPA equals null. That means don't put any value there. Just say if the person is to enter more than 5, then I cannot do else. Yeah. Every condition is then this is just how we have at least proper now. So now let's see now. So other methods we can perform the student. So methods, actions now. So Mr. Millennium, what are the things we can do, the actions we can do so that we can create method for a student? Hello, are you with us?
Yes, yes. I'm trying to
Think, right?
think of it. Yes.
Okay. Or does anyone has any suggestion of actions we can perform with a student that is quite generic? Okay. Let me think of one. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, yeah, a particular method has come to my mind. Now, we've learned conditionals and all that. So we want to create a method that will tell us the class of degree. That means from the CGP, tell us, oh, is this person a first class student? Is this person a So now let's create a method that does that. So now let me create a method. I'll be public. Then what does it return? It should return a string. That will be, it will be returning the class of degree now. So that will call this particular method class of degree. Class of degree. So now, what will it be collecting? We don't need to collect anything because we'll just be using the CGPA, which is already a field in this class. So now, all I just need to do is just a conditional stuff that we are very familiar with. So I'll say if now the CGPA now, if CGPA is less than or equal to 5.0 and and CGPA is greater than or equal to 4.5, then what should we do? Return. Now, I explained return while we're doing a method. So, normally this method should return something. So, at this point, what should you return? Return first class. Now, then we continue. Else, if CGPA is less than or equal to 4.49 and CGPA is greater than or equal to 4.0, return second class. Then we continue. If CGPA is less than or equal to 3.99 and CGPA is greater than or equal to 3.5, return second class. Then if CGPA is less than or equal to 2.5, is this no? 3.49 and CGPA is greater than or equal to 2.5. That's not anything like that. Does anyone have another method in mind we can create for a typical student? I expect us to give me a method by now. We are students. I'm also a student. So, what other thing? Mr. Ayorinde, can you give us a chart of a method you think we can add to this our class? So, any contribution?
I have a contribution.
Okay.
Is it necessary to create a constructor for each student?
No, it's not necessary. As it is now, we've not created a constructor. We've not created a
Okay.
constructor. But if there are some things you want to be done as soon as an object is created, then you create a constructor. So in our case now, let's not create a constructor. Let's just create an instance. But I want us to give me another method so that we only have one method in this class.
And maybe method to store each student value, that is the name, matric number, CGPA, and co.
Okay, maybe like we have a database, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now in this work now we don't have database included in our work, but we just write it dummy as it is. We write it dummy, but we know we are not connected to a database. So we write it dummy and we just write that method. So what we put there is just a console response. So now let me do that. Come in. I don't know why this is giving me red here. Returns, code part returns, not all code part returns value. Is that so? That's not true. So let me continue. So let me create a method that stores. So now let me just call it public. Now, okay, public. Then let's make it a void. It does not return anything. Okay, let it return something strange. Then store CGPA or store details. Store details. Store details. So let the response just be a console response. Console dot write line, and let it just be information has been successfully stored. Okay, so now let's have it that way. Okay, then return, let's just return success. Just return something. So now, this is our class now. This is called students. Let's go to our program where things are being executed. So now I want to create an instance of this class now. I'll just come here. Let me put a comment for an instance of student. So now I want to create this instance now. This is what we should do. So let's assume create similarly now. Then now let me just the name of the object now. Let me just say okay, and then let me use similarly. Similarly is the name. Let me call it std1. std1 equals. I did not there is any constructor and it's still working. Now for one, let's see what is his name? His name is expecting to put in change. Name is expecting to put in a change. Let me grab private. No, okay. So name equals the name. And that's one of the enter the match is in the car. So he 16 7. Then we're expecting the integer 500. The std1. Then what other thing? Department is department 7EE. So the SD1. Then is CG. As you can see, the solid base. So it's what we've made clear to get that information. So now to access the big one. So it's the big one that will slot in the value. So the CGPA is 4.76. Then let's store his information. STD. Okay, class of degree now. So now let's me print out his class of degree. Let me just do console dot write line. Then I will do of my number, and I put in my number is class and put class and verify with 0 so it is name the SD for the team. So now that will apply here, and this will automatically be in position 2. So now, so let's so now assume I want for goodness also. I'm copy that we have here, copy. Then let me just say just change the address. Let me call you. It's complaining that I've already created an object called std2. I'm dealing with std2 now. Then let me change the name to goodness. Then my number, trick number. Let me just then change it to 15. Then CSC, then CDA, then 7. So I don't get that free. I'm not so let this program. So I think there's a complaint somewhere. Complaining about this. So that's important. Be found. Blah 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 blah. Okay. So let me change this to std2. Okay. So std2. We should change to std2 for good. That's our own object. So let me do that. So they can't clash in terms of the value they hold, except them to clash. As I'm just going to write. So let me run what's happening. So let's wait. So, but any question? Any question? While we wait for it.
No question for me.
Okay, so let's await the response. So I will upload the code immediately after this class to the GitHub so that we can go and take more critical look at the content. So after taking critical look, I'll be dropping an assignment tomorrow. So I'll be dropping an assignment tomorrow. But I want us to first look at all that we've done so that we can digest it. So there are still many things to learn in OOP. In short, we've only touched just crumbs, but this is just the foundation of all that we want to do. So it's compiling. So we won't be able to touch static today. Okay, so now let me share with us our output. So now our output is ready. So now can we all see the output? Can we see the output? Can we see the output? Hello, are we there?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so you can see that I gave Timileyin 4.76 and it could um so we called the method. So we don't even need to create another method for goodness to calculate our own CGPA. We just need to make use of that method because the blueprint of her as a student is already on that student class. So it's just going to be making use of the properties there. So and that's just the concept of class and object, class and object. So I believe if we take much more time to read more, so this is just um, a boost, just a boost. So I will encourage us to go to the section of the material that we use to go and read more about class and object. And I want us to practice. I want us to practice. So that will be the end of today's class. So like I said, I'll be dropping assignments tomorrow. I'm dropping assignments tomorrow. So I will I'll push this code now. I'll push it to the GitHub now. So for those that have forked the repo for this program, you should see it that it has been updated. You see that it has been updated. So that's the end of today's class. So any question or contributions or whatever, any any question? Okay, so there's no question. We'll call it a day. So for those that still want to have access to the video as a video tutorial, I'll be uploading them before the end of today. Before the end of the day. So thank you so much. So see you on the Slack channel. So if you have further question, you can forward this to the Slack channel. So Timmy, any
Please,
question?
yes, I have a question, please.
Okay.
Please, can you go through how the classes are being connected together? Like how the woman class is being connected to the student class and the likes.
Okay. What I just did was that I used the now it's not as if we are trying to build an application. So all I'm just doing is explaining um, how to create class and how to create object. So what I did in the main program here is a uh, I created a class called student. I gave it some properties. Then according to console app, your executions run in the console app. So I came and I created instances of the class and I executed it. Now, so I did the same thing for Eman also. I created a class called Eman and I gave it some properties and I came here and create some objects. So we can even do well to modify it. And I think that's what we'll be doing. So by next week, we will be going into what we call inheritance. We will create in that class called student, we will let it inherit properties from Iman. So that means as a student, you should be an Iman for her. You should become an animal can be a student. So next week, not this week, we will go into inheritance and so many things. So many things. So at that point, we'll now see how we can link many classes together. So what we did today is just classes and objects. So the Iman is just to explain the fact that we created an Iman class and we created an object for Iman. So to explain that we can have as many objects of Imans. And I created an instance, I created a class called student, and I created many instances of that class. So that's just what we did. So it's not as if everything is a combined program. So by next week, we will try and bring everything together and make it a little bit much more complex such that it solves a particular problem. So, are you clear, Mr. Timileyin?
Yes, yes, I'm clear.
Okay. So, any other question? Okay. So, thank you for today. So, see you on the channel. So, keep on coding, keep on reading, and keep on doing a lot. So, nice having you around. Do have a wonderful day. Thank you.